So it's kind of like more, I suppose, the way I'm talking to you now, which is my voice is sort of drawing you in because it has hesitation and nuance. So that's essentially what it is, and it was entirely Katie Moore's idea. Love her,
bless her.
Yeah. So that's something that we're doing to tackle AI. It will never. I'm not saying that Maple Street will not use AI voices in the future, but if it does, it won't be on my watch.
Hello and welcome to Voice Acting Unplugged, the podcast that goes behind the scenes in the voice acting industry, and we talk to experts in their field. And I'm here, as usual, with my co-host Anthony Rudd.
Hi.
The ever-curious voiceover.
The ever-curious. Yes, that's probably
It's got to
true.
be something.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome to Voice Acting Unplugged. And we have a very special guest today. We're on the client side again today, so we're on our best behaviour. Would you please welcome Mr. Ali Lang, head of Maple Street Creative. Hi, Ali. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you,
Ali.
Anthony. Hi, Margaret. Thanks, lovely to see you both, and thanks for inviting me on today.
You're very, very welcome. Now, I don't know you. Margaret's met you before, but I didn't know you, so I put a quick search into ChatGPT. I really wish I hadn't.
News today.
Because as head of Maple Street Creative, it says, Ali Lang oversees creative production across a variety of audio formats, radio and digital adverts, podcasts, voiceover talent and studio services. So far, so good.
Yeah.
She has also authored insightful industry content under her byline. For instance, a blog titled Charity... Well, I'll leave it there. Stay away from AI, kids.
Yeah.
It's
but,
not very helpful.
I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's always happened. Yeah.
There's a new AI ChatGTP coming out that says it's the PhD of ChatGTP.
It's GPT.
Whatever. That's why I haven't got a PhD.
It's DPH, actually, Margaret. Yeah.
Anyway, Ali, tell us about yourself in your own words. Who you are, what you do, how you got to be where you are.
Gosh. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I suppose you should probably start with where I am now, because I think that's of most interest to voiceovers.
It looks as though it could be one of the rooms in your house, or is that a posh office?
Oh, not geographically where I am now. No, this is my house. Yes, this is where I live. That's my silk handkerchief of the map of mainland Europe, which pilots used to have in the war.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watch Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah. So if you lost it, then you can't see the rest of the British Isles there. So anyway, that's there. That's not very interesting.
It is.
Where I am now in terms of my career is I have the great pleasure to run Maple Street Creative, and we have a wonderfully talented team of writers and producers, and we have a preferred talent roster of just over 150 voices, of which you are one, Margaret, and I love working with you. So that's sort of where I am now. How I got to be here is a little bit like the British English do the long way round of things, of scratching their left ear with their right hand. I did 20 years in the BBC before joining Maple Street about 7 years ago. Most of that time was making promos and working in station sound, and a lot of it was spent at Radio 2, they were heady days. So that's the sort of long and the short of where I am and what I do.
And now you also oversee a database of, you said 150. I read on LinkedIn 500 voices. How on earth do you keep tabs on all of that?
It is just over 150. I think it's about 157 or so. It is actually a bit trickier than people might initially imagine, because we obviously want the best voiceovers we can get, but we also need to have a diverse range of voiceovers, and I mean diverse in every single aspect, from accent to gender. So so it is a little tricky, and we can't have too many voices. I think we've probably got too many as it is. I'll be totally honest with you. But I do an audit. I do a regular audit on the site to see where the pinch points are, where we don't have enough voices of one particular region, or where we've got way too many. And there are some really good voices out there, some wonderful voices that we don't have on the site. I'd have them on tomorrow, but the issue becomes that the money doesn't go around, to everyone, and nobody's earning enough money if we've got too many voices on there. So we have to be quite ruthless with it, just to sort of have the breadth of voices that cover the client's needs, but also, and I think this is quite important, those voices where we want to lead clients, because you will have seen all the scripts. The client sends a script to you that they might have written, or they fill the brief out and they say, we want no accent. You go, okay, well, what you mean by no accent is somebody from the south of England, right? That's your interpretation of it, yeah. Or they say, we want an urban voice, which they just mean, I don't know why they can't say, we'd like a black person to voice, like a black voice. I don't know why they can't say that, but that's their sort of euphemism for it. It's really important that a production house is leading clients so that the voices that work on their brands truly represent their customer base, or their potential customer base. And that's one of the things that it's not that we challenge them, it's that we try and get them to aspire to be as inclusive as possible.
Where are you underrepresented? What's the most difficult group to find?
Scousers.
Really?
Yeah.
Scousers, you can't get any people
Well,
from
this is the
Liverpool.
problem. So,
That's really strange.
Well, yes, people from Liverpool and also people from the southwest, because the market of those generally tends to be flooded by people doing caricatures.
Yeah. Right.
So which is absolutely fine for some instances, but if it's a recruitment ad, for example, and I think I always try and have us being as authentic as possible. Now, there are some voiceovers out there that can absolutely nail accents and are so good at them, but I'm telling you that probably 90% of them you'll hear it's wrong.
Yeah. And
it'll be in the vowels. They'll say one of the vowels and you'll hear it's not authentic. Now, if a client wants to be authentic in that region, then we should be authentic with it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So
you can do caricatures,
yeah.
but that's not what most advertising requires these days.
Yeah, and I think we should also be cautious about sending up people.
Yeah.
By their accent, and we have advised on that in the past. So yeah, at Northwest we've got a wonderful collection of sort of Manchester voices. But Scousers, we were a bit low on the ground with those. Authentic
really
Cornish, I know, authentic Cornish voices as well. Funnily enough, I was at Southwest Voiceover sort of social do the other week, and I shouldn't have given quite
Simon John's?
No, I don't think it was that one. I shouldn't have given that much information actually, but I was okay. I was at
plug for Simon John's.
Yes,
there.
no, it wasn't him. I was at an unnamed Southwest Voiceover social, and I did have a couple of people say to me, "I can do Southwest accents." And yes, you can when you're talking.
Yeah,
but
it's when you get the script.
Yeah. For me, the biggest, might be jumping ahead to another question actually for you, but just in my head, I had it leap in because we were talking about authentic voices. The biggest thing that I struggle with new voices, or with voices that haven't quite grasped it yet, is those people that have been told they've got a nice voice.
Oh,
yeah.
And they are not reading the words. They are listening to their own voice in their head. And that is my biggest bugbear, I'm afraid. the idea of speech is to communicate the words and the meaning. And if you're just delivering the words, thinking how nice your voice sounds in your head, no, it's absolutely not the way to do it.
Now, when you say new voices, do you mean new young voices or just people coming into the profession at any age?
I would probably say people come into the profession at any age. And I'll be honest with you, Margaret, there are voices out there who have done it, who probably earn half a decent living, who do it as well. It's just, what's the word? It's just a trap that, I think people fall into. When I first joined Maple Street, goodness me, there were hundreds of voices on the site, and they'd mostly been recruited in social settings by people meeting people and telling them they had a nice voice.
Yeah.
And I inherited this ragtag bunch of people that couldn't do it. And it was like the night of the long knives. There was a very serious cull going on, and also, by the way, I was very mean to the large proportion of white middle-aged men. So I'm sorry.
You see, good job you're not on the books then, Anthony.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
it's something I've struggled with. I came out of radio.
Yeah.
I came out of radio with a BBC presentation style.
Yeah.
And I'm only now really fixing that. I will be completely honest. I've struggled with that. It is very difficult to get out of that habit.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who particularly come out of radio suffer from it.
I mean,
because what they've been told is the right way to speak isn't the right way to communicate on this level. It's a different thing.
It is, but I also think that it's tough because you're in probably the largest proportion of people who are looking for voiceover work to begin with.
Yeah.
So, but also that makes it the most competitive. I mentioned earlier that there are voices I would have on our site tomorrow, but I can't because they wouldn't earn anything from us, and the other people on the site in that same category wouldn't earn anything from us. So it is really difficult, and I have, there was a mini cull at the start of this year, and one of the voices came back to me and said, oh, it's not, why can't I be on? Why you haven't represented me? You haven't done this, you haven't done that. And I said, well, we're not agents, we have our own site, which is public facing, because it actually is the best way to sort of to showcase to clients what we do. And whenever we have a job come through for us, we can make a bespoke page from that website we send to the client, and it's got 5 or 6 voices on for every job. For every job we are putting forward 5 or 6 voices. There's not a voiceover agency in the world that does that amount of recommending voices.
I put in sort of female, British, 50 plus, and me and 3 of my best friends came up and went, oh, it's the 3 Graces plus 1. But we're all quite different. We all know each other very well, but we're all quite different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who can I guess who those were?
There was, go on, you guess.
You, Claire.
Yeah.
And Bethan.
No.
Oh.
Although Bethan and I do often go up at the same jobs.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it was me, Claire, Joe, and Nano.
Right. Yeah.
And we can all tell we all tell each other, did you go up for? Did you do that? But we can all tell each other's voices, and we'll actually recommend each other for jobs if we think we're not right for it.
Yes, I think that's wonderful that you can do that. I mean, we have a similar thing with Welsh. We do a lot of.
Oh, Holcam Ranto said the event.
Is that the one sentence, Margaret? Because if it isn't, you're booked. Okay, you're gonna. Don't.
I did under Milkwood when I was at drama
Did you?
school. I played Mrs. Dybread 1
and
Mrs. Ogmore Pritchard. And we had our director was actually Welsh. She was a radio producer. He's dead now, a long time ago. I think it was Ron Cook. And he had us all learn Welsh.
Well, we did we did an audio drama
ago.
last year of a Christmas Carol for a charity, and we're going to be doing yes, I think we do Under Milkwood then this year, Margaret, with you and Phil Rowe, and I can see it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I've just, it was a couple of years ago, but it's just coming out now. I did a play, and I was cast by a Welsh director to play a Welsh character in a Welsh play.
I got hired for native Chinese once. Doesn't necessarily mean it was the right course of action.
It was Nonny cast me, and she directed it. So.
Yeah.
She's great, isn't
As
she?
Welsh, yeah. So it's just
We have
the way this world works.
I
When
mean,
you're trained, you can.
We do a lot of foreign language stuff, and we do recommend as well to clients that, for example, if you have an ad going out in Wales, then probably 50% of the airtime should be in a Welsh language. So we do recommend that a lot, and at least one of our voices has gone to try, who is Welsh, has gone to try and improve their Welsh to get more work, which is terrific, because I think the busiest voices are going to be the most versatile ones. Now it's really interesting listening to some of the previous episodes that you've done, and you're thinking about voices who specialise in doing a certain style. Who's writing scripts, or who is signing scripts off for those wonderfully talented people anymore? There's a real genuine lack of creativity in the industry, which we try and push all the time, but people are a little bit afraid, I think, to sort of scare the horses sometimes.
Is the majority of the work at present for younger voices, and is it aimed at younger people, or is it a complete mix?
Well, I mean, there is this, we're sort of veering into radio territory now, I think, in that, life is so homogenous. You've got Global and Bauer talking about, we've got this brand and this sub-brand, and I mean, I probably shouldn't say this, but it's all horseshit. Like, it's all this fine margins, isn't it? It's just about swamping the industry, and they're indistinguishable. And somebody was moaning to me the other day, or saying that they couldn't listen to commercial radio because of the adverts. And I said, yeah, but if the presenters were better, you wouldn't mind the ads. If the presenters had something about them. I did 13 years at Radio 2, and people thought we were a music station. We weren't. We were a personality station.
Yeah.
And
True.
And that was the key, and we had a tertiary relationship with our audience as well. So we were very sort of multi-layered. And yet, Radio 2, ironically, the kind of radio we're talking about now in this conversation is what Radio 2 has become. This sort of homogenous kind of noise. I lost track of the question now. The scripts, right? So of course, the scripts and the voices, they will naturally lead into that as well. So I think I haven't looked at this, but it's interesting, really interesting question, because I suspect the majority of the scripts that we get are probably for sort of people in those age brackets of 35 to 55.
Yeah.
The main radio listening audience. I suspect that is the case. Obviously, there's going to be lots of asides from that, but absolutely certainly there's not enough. There are not enough scripts for older voices. Even even when we would get cruise, I know younger people go on cruises now, but you think that would be a point where you'd have a slightly more experienced voice. And it's a shame, because the older voices as well tend to be absolutely excellent, like you, Margaret. Really, but you've trained, and you're experienced, and
I've had life.
Yeah.
And everything it throws at you that goes into your voice.
I mean, there's so much to be said for being able to have empathy in the way that you communicate, and I think people who are younger, who they felt that it's come easy to them so far, they're never going to have that. It's always the harder you work at something, the harder it is to let it go, and the more you cherish it. That's the case with everything, I think.
So how do you go about finding work, or does work come to you?
As a production house, generally it comes. I mean, I don't want to sound like we go fishing when we just put the barrel on the side of the bank and expect the fish to jump in, but generally it comes to us. We probably make over 500 ads a year, and we are a small team, so we more than punch above our weight. Generally it comes either direct to us from clients, or it comes via agencies that we work with. So
as an advertising agency,
yes,
not actors agents.
No, sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, so advertising agencies. Also, of course, our parent company buys airtime and plans airtime for brands and clients. So we will be referred to by them as well. I'd love to go out and win work and get work, but it's, we haven't really got the time to do it. We're so busy, we haven't got the time to do that, which sounds daft, I know. We also do some spec stuff sometimes. So the creatives might write something they feel like writing for a client, and we'll get that voiced and send that off to them, perhaps. But generally it all comes in, to us.
Interesting. The elephant in the room, as always, is AI. Is that something that you think is ever going to really be a major influence on you, other than using perhaps 11 Labs for Scratch or something?
On Maple Street, not in my time. I won't do it. I was asked this question on a panel at a conference back in May, and I got quite robust about it. Voiceovers would be wrong in thinking that it isn't a threat. They'd be wrong in thinking that it isn't here already and already taking jobs. There are radio networks that are already using AI voices for campaigns under a certain level. They're already doing it, and I'm not even sure clients are aware of it a lot of the time. We've had instances of clients coming to us saying, we got this AI voice though, can you fix it please? So it is out there, it's already happening. But I did a workshop actually recently, and I'm a big one for research, so I did a lot of research going into this workshop on how voices can tackle AI in the future, and I spoke to creatives and I spoke to the tech people. I'd done a much sort of smaller scale thing the year before, and I wanted just to take it a bit further. My biggest bugbear with AI is it's not led by creatives, it's led by techies. And the biggest threat with AI is that techies are not interested in a paper trail. Now, I happen to know that there are some voiceover agencies now that are looking to get voices to sign a contract to say that their voice can be used for AI. Now, this doesn't necessarily, that they are trying to do it in a quite a correct way, in a sense, in that what they're saying they would do is, if a client then comes to them and says, we want this ad, and the budget doesn't allow for them to record it, they go to the voice who signed off their AI usage, and they say, we've got this job, can we use your AI version of you for this job? Now, it sort of sounds like they're trying to do it with a paper trail, and they're trying to make it sort of ethical, but as I understand it, they're just creating an underbelly of a black market, if you like.
It's only going to save a session fee as well, isn't it? The usage would have to be the same, you'd have thought.
And it's not worth it for the voice actor to say yes. No, use me properly.
The thing is, there are things that AI, it's a bit like trying to think of some sort of science fiction movie where it's our fault, maybe like Planet of the Apes or something. but for years, voiceover directors have got voiceovers to deliver scripts in the same way, and clients have said, you've got to write a script like this. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. This is me telling you what I'm telling you, and there, I've told you that, haven't I? I've told you that thing I've just told you, right? That's how they sort of write a script. And voiceover directors get the voiceover to do it in a 15-minute window, and it's all quite sing-songy. And so what we've done is we've created this kind of sort of bastard child of creativity that is very easy for AI to duplicate, and it can do it well, and it can do it cheaply. And so we've made it easy. And what we looked at in this workshop was the weak points of AI. So the things that voiceovers should now be focusing on. So I would suggest that voiceovers look at long form audio, which AI can do, but it's more expensive for someone to use AI to do it. Okay.
Although Amazon or Audible are suggesting having AI to do audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Who's going to listen to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna clean up, but it's up to us to be better. I was talking to Tanya Rich about this probably 3 or 4 years ago, and we were both kind of the same opinion that it's the newbies that are going to lose out, right? And the experienced good ones are still going to be kept. And I don't know if I believe that, but I think that what I've tried to do from a Maple Street perspective is it's a point of difference for us.
Yeah.
That we are using voices, and that is quality, and that is the best quality you're going to get. So it's a point of difference for us to do that. Niche accents, AI at the moment can't do niche accents. Mixed emotions, can't do nuance. Okay. No. And it can't do unpredictability. So I heard some of the episode of you talking to Hugh Klitsky, and he sort of specialises in the sort of conversational read. Yeah. And what we're trying to do at Maple Street is do something slightly different again, so beyond that, which is a slightly unpredictable read.
Oh, okay.
So it has much more light and shade to it.
A reality read.
Yeah. I sort of liken it, the way it sounds is a little bit like a podcast presenter, if you like. Yeah. And we've tried it with Dave Baird, and we've tried it with Katie Flamman, and they both absolutely nailed it. And the client, I didn't expect the client to go for it. I just thought we'll have it in the bag, because the client was on the session with us. I thought, well, just, do you mind if we just try this? And in both occasions, the client loved it, and that was the option that they went with. And that is something AI could not do tomorrow.
No.
So now I must actually put a flag in the ground here and credit somebody with this, because in the research leading up to that workshop on AI, I also spoke to different voiceovers. I spoke to Phil Rowe, I spoke to Tanya Rich, and I spoke to Katie Moore. And Katie Moore, who I think is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, bless her.
Had this notion of unpredictability, of delivering what scripts in a slightly unpredictable way. So it's kind of like more, I suppose, the way I'm talking to you now, which is my voice is sort of drawing you in because it has hesitation and nuance. So yeah, that's essentially what it is, and it was entirely Katie Moore's idea. Love her.
Bless her.
Yeah. So that's something that we're doing to tackle AI. It will never. I'm not saying that Maple Street will not use AI voices in the future, but if it does, it won't be on my watch.
No.
How about the current trend of street cred type voices? There's been some commercials I've heard, and I'm like, what did he say?
Yeah.
What?
But they're not aimed at you. This is the thing. They're relating to somebody that's not a client, that's not a buyer of that product.
Something I fell foul of quite early on. Actually, I was editing a podcast this week, and somebody mentioned a college in Manchester that they did some work for. And when I first joined, or quite early on in my Maple Street days, I did an ad for this college. I was thinking, oh God, I can't hear anything. This voice is. Come on, can you just give me a bit better diction, right? So, not RP by any stretch of the imagination, but you need to land the important words, right?
Yeah.
There is one important word in every sentence, and you need to hit it. And so we did this session. I sent it to the client, and they were like, "No, everything's wrong. Everything's wrong about that." And then they sent a video of, this sort of very kind of, I suppose in the old days we'd call it estuary, wouldn't we? Everything sort of dropped out and all that. And I said, well, why didn't you share this before we recorded the ad? Like, that would have really helped. So I don't know. Maybe I'm the wrong person to ask. Margaret. It's been a long time since I worked on a youth brand. Most
It was youth, and they were using street words, and they did put captions, and I watched the captions several times before I finally got what they were saying. But it shouldn't be like that.
There's a wonderful film with Barbara Windsor called Sparrows Can't Sing.
Oh yeah.
And
vaguely remember that.
it's every single person you've ever seen in a British film is in it.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that it's in English, when they sent it to America, it was the first English film that had to have subtitles in America.
Wow.
Because nobody could understand all this sort of Cockney, all the Cockney accents and the kind of, the sort of dropped letters and things in words. So I honestly don't know. I mean, we talk a lot to clients about authenticity. And if authenticity to your brand is having someone that people like us can't quite understand. When I say people like us, of our age, if we can't understand it, then I suppose that, again, as Anthony says, it's not aimed at us. But
It's
I don't
identify,
know.
they identify with it very closely, and that's the way to sell it.
There's also a lot of research that we share with clients on words per minute. Okay, so once you get past 85 words in a 30-second ad, people are starting to switch off, okay, because you're just cramming too much in. And this is also something about messaging as well. Just keep to core messaging. So if you are going to have someone who delivers a script in that slightly sort of low-key way, I would say that's fine. But what you must ensure is that you are probably looking at around 75 words per 30 seconds. Make them good words as well, right? It's not just about the number of words. It's not just the quantity. But I would say that's important too. That's fine. But just go slowly. So that
there's a radio guru guy from Australia he's American actually. He lives in Australia, called Bill Pesamenti, who I used to work with, and he always used to make the point that a radio ad is like a rhinoceros. It only makes one point, but it makes it very forceful.
That's a good analogy. Where did you work in radio, Anthony? Where were you?
Oh, all over the place. I started out with a local station called Star FM in Slough.
I did 2 weeks there.
Did you really?
Yeah,
fabulous. I was there right from the launch.
I was studying broadcasting and media management in Durham, and I came down to do a 2-week course as a journalist, which basically just involved calling up the police and seeing if anything had happened.
Yeah.
And only to be told, yes, there's a decapitated head in a bin in Slough.
Oh, nice.
Welcome to Slough.
Absolutely.
Come friendly bombs and all that, yeah.
Yes, well, that was my first radio job. From there, I went to a company that did traffic and travel. So I ended up flying eye for a lot of the stations in the Northwest. And Jack FM, when that launched in Oxford, I was the flying eye for them.
Yes. I'm surprised Jack FM didn't quite last the distance. I don't know why. I do think it had something, and I think
it did.
Yeah,
I loved listening to that.
But I mean, the thing is about radio is it's a people medium.
Yeah.
And commercial radio, as it exists in its largest form, is not radio. It's business, and that for me that's the difference. So, if you've got a station like Jackie, I used to love listening to Radio Jackie when I lived in Southwest London. If you've got something like that, or if you've got Jack FM, if you've got something like My Soul, these places have something. They have something because they look to connect with people.
Where do you see radio and voiceover actors going in the next few years?
Well, okay. I'd love to think. Well, I would love to think that these things are cyclical. And I would love to think that things come round again. So, when Capital first launched in about October 73, They had a drama department. They had a news team. It was a very different animal.
Yeah.
And within 2 months, they made the decision that they didn't have enough listeners. So, I mean, I don't know how you can judge that after 2 months, because you have to establish yourself before you can, start selling advertising. So they changed over Christmas. They just changed. But I think then you could make the argument that a lot of stuff that Capital did over the years was very creative.
Yeah.
People like Kenny Everett.
Totally.
On there. Yeah. You wouldn't get Kenny Everett anywhere today. I'll tell you, tell that for nothing. So I would love to think that these things are cyclical, and they will come round, and there will be a desire for more creative, independent radio. But I think it would probably be a long tail. So it will be like a lot of small, independent stations. I mean, obviously, we're blessed in this country. We've been blessed for many decades having such a fantastic radio industry. But now podcasts are playing a part as well. And it's interesting, if you look at the listening habits of podcasts, they do pretty much mirror that of peak times in radio. So it's a bit of a victory for content. Podcasts, it will probably have an effect, continue to have an effect on radio. I think the reason why America's so far ahead of us in podcast listening is because it doesn't have, or hasn't had, the quality of radio industry that we've had here.
No.
So I really have an answer, Margaret. I would love to think that it will come round again. Well, there's a very interesting station that set up a few years ago and is still going, run by a guy called Jed Edwards, and it's podcast radio. So he puts podcasts on linear radio, which seems to be a bit of a crazy business idea, but it's a fantastic shop window for podcasts, and it's still going. So
get on to them, Anthony.
Well, yeah, but maybe there's a thing for that sort of long tail of content. I think I do. I'm not going to sound like a real old fogey now, but I do think it's very sad that I might be wrong here. I don't think any of the community stations that launched in the early 90s are still going. I think there was one in Sunderland that was still going. Was it Weir FM? Was that one of the an incremental?
There is one.
So they called.
I did my very first radio ad for Metro.
Yeah.
And it's no longer going.
Yeah, I mean they were called incrementals, and they were set up with people in the community on the board as well as the business people. And I think it's really sad that not one of those has sort of, well, I think maybe one still. I should have checked this before if I was going to talk about it. But if there's only one going out of 20, I do think that's a bit sad that the radio industry hasn't been able to support community radio. And there should perhaps, I'm thinking off the top of my head now, but if you think about the way that when Channel 4 started, so, a new television station is not going to get advertising to pay its way straight away. So ITV would pay it like a sort of a lump sum or share of their advertising over the years, and it sort of declined as Channel 4 got older. So I don't see why there's, in the same way in football actually, the FA distribute the wealth to grassroots football. I don't see why Global and Bauer and News International couldn't be investing money into community radio. Yeah.
While we're on the subject of football, what sort of season are you expecting for the Wargrave Wolves under 10s?
I don't manage them anymore. That I did 2 years.
Oh, okay.
I got hoodwinked into it. And I did 2. I was the first under 10s coach to play a false number 9.
Oh,
I don't understand it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but it was the first season was absolutely brilliant, because It was
You ran it.
it was the third. It was basically the third team,
Yeah.
and I was told that if I didn't coach, my son wouldn't have a team.
Oh no.
So
That's how
Emotional
things happen,
blackmail.
isn't it?
yeah. So they said you only need to do it for a year. So I did it for a year, and then they went, oh, "You've got to do it again," because the guy that was going to take over from you now doesn't want to do it, or can't do it. So I said, "Fine." And the second year was really, really difficult because this is going to be so tedious, right? But basically, they changed our name from the third team, right, to what? Because then they only had 2 teams the second year.
Yeah.
So because they only had 2 teams, instead of keeping the first team name and keeping the name of the third team for what is essentially the very same boys that were playing in the third team and pretty much getting beaten every single week, we had the name of the second team, and so the East Berks FA put us in a league for I kid you not, we must have won 3 or 4 games, right, the whole season, and then they put us in a league. They put us in 3 leagues higher than we were before.
Oh no.
And I got myself into a lot of trouble by being a bit too blunt with the East Berks FA. So so that was my last season, and I walked, and it was just it was horrendous, because the parents also are like, why is my son in the football team getting beaten 14-0? He's actually much better than that. Well, he's actually not, but you know, we're in the wrong league.
I think you're losing all your friends here.
Yeah. It was horrendous. It was really horrendous. But the first season, I like to focus on that because it was wonderful. I had boys who'd never played football before, and by the end of that season, every single boy had scored a goal, and every single boy had been man of the match.
Oh, wonderful!
And that was great. Very genuine, and it was really heartwarming, and the parents just believed, because you know it was great.
Fantastic.
And that is a great moment to end on.
Yes, we've gone way over time. I could sit and chat to you all day.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realise.
Maybe we should make these podcasts into an hour instead of half.
Yeah, we probably should.
I mean, we've spent 10 minutes talking about Wargrave Wolves. So.
Thank you so much for coming on board with us.
It's
a great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for your time. I shall leave Margaret to say our goodbyes.
By you at some time.
As soon as possible, Margaret, if I had my way. But no, thanks for inviting me. I didn't really sort of imagine I'd be of any interest. So I've enjoyed talking to you both. It might be the Parky episode of Who Do You Think You Are that never sees the light of day.
No, you'll be on. Don't trust me.
Okay,
you'll be there. Brilliant. Thank you, Ali, so much. I'll hand over to Margaret and she can say our goodbyes for us.
Yes. We are on all the podcast stations, and I'm sure you are all on all your social networking things. So please give out the word, let everybody know we're around. We have fantastic guests. Get them to listen, leave us reviews, and subscribe to us. Thank you and goodbye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you very much for watching and listening and stuff.
And everything else.